Hi all, it's Kylie from Kylie's Card Craft. Thanks for joining me again today. I'm with you tonight, and it is tonight. I'm with you tonight with our Out With a Bang 2025 Last Days of Summer collaboration, brought to you by Mandy at Sunflowers and Doors and Julie from Julie's Papercraft. Now, this is a collaboration done with 40 creators over the month of August. So there's one or two creators each day for the entire 31 days. Now, this goes through the Facebook, which is Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors. Please, if you're not already a member, jump on over there and have a look. There's some wonderful things being created. Just generally, you can play along and do your shot of the creations as well. Now, there are a couple of kits bought out for this one. Mandy at Sunflowers and Doors has 2 kits out, and Julie has 1 kit out. These kits are massive. They're just gorgeous. It was really hard to choose one to work with for this. And on the Facebook group, there is a pile of freebies as well that correlate with the kits that are extra pages. So they're not pages that are part of the kit, but they work with the kits. Get on over, jump into the group, have a look at the freebies. All the details will be below. I'll have the links to the freebies, etc. down below. The freebies are on Mandy's Etsy site, I think, and Julie's Ko-fi site. So, but all those details will be below. Now, my day is day 12. Now, I am running late. I do have a good excuse. I really do. My son's been in hospital. So our son passed out a week ago and collapsed while running. And I took him to emergency, worried about concussion because he hit his head when he went down. And a week later, we've just got him out of hospital because he had a heart condition. So I've got him home, fully monitored and all the rest. But whereas I'd started this a week ago to get this ready, I'd lost it completely. So I've jumped on. I'm late. This should have been out about 12 or more hours ago. And so I'm sorry for those that have been waiting. You will already find Nikki at WW Designs. Hers is already out. Jump over, have a look at that one as well. And so mine, as I said, I am sorry. I had this beautiful thing planned. I did. We're going to do part of it tonight because I've got to get this video out. So I've gone with one of Mandy's kits and I can't remember which one it is, I'm afraid. There are 2 kits. I think I've got both of them printed out. As I said, printed all these out ages ago. So this was one of the kits. You can see it comes in numerous different colours. I sorted through my colours and chose the blue tones for it. And the other kit should be sitting on my pile of mess here somewhere. Here it is, because I got both of them because I really couldn't work out. And this is the other kit. Look at it. Look at all these. Isn't this just... It's upside down, but you get the gist. Okay, so I've chosen the other one. That might be collections. The other one is Shabby things. I don't know. You'll see when you go on and have a look at these kits. I'm just going to pop that one over there. So the kit I chose was in the blues, as I said before. My prompt for today is wings. So I've chosen the blue, which has got all these beautiful... Oh, that's one of the freebies, actually. That one. It's got these beautiful birds, these beautiful blue willow tonings to it as well. And really, the pages that I've used are just these ones. So, without further ado, let's jump into this. I'll show you what I'd actually created. For the most part, it is finished. For the most part. So I just did a tri-fold. Here we go, here we go, here we go. No. No. Sitting here somewhere in my mess. Oh, I am so sorry. Right, that's what I chose for my main sheet, which was that one. Now, I printed it double-sided. I then printed one of the freebies on the back. And all I've done is just folded it in thirds. Now, when I fold them, I tend to look at it like so. So I want this one a little bit smaller. I want that one as my front cover. And I'll just look at them down like so that my middle page is slightly smaller. Okay, so round about there. Crease that. Sit it down. Nice and straight. Give it a crease. Simple as that. Find the bone folder and just give it a good crease. And then this one we're just going to take to the edge. Look, it's not even cut straight, Kylie. Right, so that you've got just a normal trifold, but this centre one doesn't come all the way to the edge, just so it gives you a little bit more without it bulking too much. I plan to put these into my altered books, which are my altered book series that I'm doing here, and I want them to go into that. So generally that's what it was. I've then decorated it with all the bits and pieces, a little bit of lace. Of course, this is me. So each one of these are little pockets. I've undone it. So I haven't even finished that page. There you go. This is what we're going to create today. So I'm just going to set this one aside. I've then popped in lots of flips for journaling, etc. As I said before, I've used some stamps. This one had a different backing paper because I actually think that one was from one of Julie's. I was just playing around earlier. We're back into here. This is out of that kit as well. It's one of Mandy's tags that folds over. I've then used more of her words and popped those in as well. That's that one. Some more stamps going over. I've just used a die and then filled with all these wonderful little bits, because these pages are these collaged pages. It was so easy to find areas to make all these wonderful little tags. Little envelope is in that kit as well. I've just folded that and filled it with a couple of little journal cards again as well. That'll fold over, and I'd plan to put a cluster where I've put that, but I just ran out of time, sorry. So you can see that that one doesn't finish all the way in, which gives it room, if this is getting bulky, to fold over. What I want to show you though is her little slide piece. This is in the kit like this. So all I've done at this stage is cut it out. What we're going to do is cut out our section here, but we're also going to cut out our back piece, because then I've made this into a pocket. So if I pull out my card, you should see that as well. Can you see the image on the negative? Because I've got that back piece cut out as well, it allows the light to go through. Whereas normally if you put a negative in one of your slide pieces that you're making, you quite often can't see it, especially when they're this fullness on the back. So we're going to cut both of them out to make it a little pocket, but then you can actually see. Now I'm lucky enough to have been gifted some larger negatives, and they're just negatives, so they fitted this perfectly. If you don't have any, have a look around. Even x-rays, old x-rays, we've got them floating around. We all used to keep them. You'll occasionally find them in op shops, all sorts of places. Old x-rays work a treat, especially if you're doing a goth type album or a Halloween album. Halloween albums, the old x-rays look beautiful in these. Now these are so easy to make. As I said before, I've literally just cut around the edges. We're going to cut this piece out. I just tend to use my knife. If you're not happy with a knife, make a cut in the center and then you can use your scissors. So I tend to do the whole thing with my knife. If you haven't watched me before, then I'm letting you know that now. There you go. See, I'm just so out of whack at the moment. If you've watched me or been following me, you'll realise, I just use my knife for most things. So what I've done is I've gone round all 4 edges. You can use your scissors if you like. Again, I will just use my knife to go round. Just go slowly and just take it bit by bit. So going round all 4 corners, like so. The sharper the knife, the better it is. If your knife is starting to get blunt, then you'll find it may tear your paper, depending on how thick your paper is to start with. Mine is on like a presentation paper, so it's just a little bit thicker than normal copy paper. Not much, but just a little bit. I find it just gives me a little bit better colour too on my printer, and it's just a basic home printer that I use, just a basic HP printer, but I get wonderful colour when I'm printing them out, and it's just a little bit more stable. So we've got that one cut out, and we're just going to edge in that, mainly so that you don't see those white edges where I've cut that out. And if my cutting is slightly wonky, what it'll do is take your eyes away from the wonkiness. You know what I mean, wonkiness. Right. So I'm going to fold that so that it matches up. Now you can fold this prior to cutting it if you find it's a little bit easier for you. Now just watch. These ones have matched up really well. My first one, they didn't match like that little bit up there. I'm out a tad at the top there, so I'll just, might be fairly good. A little bit there, so I just need to cut that section out. Right, so now that I've got that bit, and I need to trim around there, what I need to cut out is that back section. So just holding it down, getting a pencil, again, get a nice sharp pencil, and just follow around and just trace around your actual cutout, just like so. Like that. So now you're just going to do it again. Again, I will use my blade straight down, nice and easy. Okay. Last one, and then back onto my blade for the corner pieces. And just take your time when you're doing the corner pieces if you are using your blade. Like so. You don't need to push too hard. And look, if you push too hard, you tend to snap the tip off your blade anyway. Believe me, I've done it 1,000 times. Right, and that makes a perfect little tuck journal anyway. So we're going to do exactly the same on this side, and we're going to just ink in there. If you don't ink, you don't have to ink. It's a me thing. I like to ink everything. Alright. So I'm going to grab my bone folder actually, which I've put in my mess here somewhere. I've got another one there, so we'll go that one. Just to make that a nice sharp crease. And I also need to put the curve bit in there, like so. Alright. Both sides of that so that you can see it. It's so easy this way. And then I love the little film film slides, is that what they are? Negative slides, just slides, Kylie. I love using slides, whether they're original vintage or I suppose they're all vintage these days, aren't they? Because you can't really do slides anymore. I love using them in my journals, whether I cover the fronts or not, but these days you'll get these in kits and they're just so wonderful to use. Just use your imagination, put some acetate in there, just normal acetate, use your alcohol inks, colour your acetate, put those in there. Right, that's all that done. What we need now is our little negative. So, in my little box of bits, I want those because I know that's where they are. Right, in here I have some of these. They're a bigger size, so you can see that these ones are an actual bigger size. They're not great. That one will work. Let's have a look at which direction that goes, and that will fit in there like so. Does it go that way? No, it goes that way. Okay, we're going to use that one, put that one back away. So these are even bigger than I need, so I'm just going to trim these off. What I'm going to use is double-sided tape. My double-sided tape is about 1/4 inch. So I'm going to cut that along there. I'm just going to make a little pencil mark. And I'm just going to trim that straight down there. But I'm going to use bigger scissors and just eyeball that round about there, so that that covers that entire area. Now I'm using double-sided tape because, in all honesty, I'm too lazy to wait for the glue to dry. How's that? That's being raw and honest. I'm too lazy to wait for the glue to dry. And it still holds these down. It holds right down to the edges so nothing catches in it if you're using it as a pocket. Except that I want it on that side. We're going to go back that way. I want the front. I had it round the wrong way, didn't I? Yes. I'll just leave those ones there. Make sure that they're nicely stuck down. How's that? Alright. Because I don't want to adhere both sides of the negative, because I want to make this into a pocket. And last one, like so. Right, I can take the backings off that, move that one away, put the lid back on that one. I've got such a mess here. Right, I can't find anything. And down to that one. That one. That one. Make sure I've got the front this time. Now when I pop them in, I tend to pop, so with the negatives, you've got a really shiny side. See how that glares? And you've got a, see how it's a different glare? It's more of a matte colour. I like the matte colour coming out, so it'll show from the front. We're just going to pop that on there like that. Now I'm going to try not to use too much of my fingers, and I'm just going to push it down that way. Right, so now I've got that. All we're going to do now is adhere it there, there and there, and you've got a pocket. So when we find the glue, here we go. Let's have a look. So going up into these bits, go right down to the negative at the top, because it's only a tiny fraction anyway underneath that bit, right to your edge. Down here, go over that little tip there. We're going to make it more or less a straight line. That's going to go up to there. And then I like to pop a run of it down here as well, just so that that middle section stays closed. Okay. All right. Close that. Now we're just going to push this shut as we go. Like so. Look at that. Give that a little push down. Once it's completely glued down and not all over your mat, you can see if any of your little areas here need another cut. They all look fine on that side. This side I've got one little bit that's showing white. So I'm just going to trim that little bit out, like so. If it's been a bigger bit, you may need to ink that section again. So now what we've got is a little pocket that, for all intents and purposes, is a slide. So when we make our little, so it's just a little piece of one of the bits that we're sitting over. This will slide in so that it just looks like a blank slide. But as you pull it out, I don't know whether you'll see this one as well. Colour's not as good on that one. Let's go back to this one. The original one. Pop that in there. Right. So bringing it back up here. So as I pull this out, can you see the scenery that's on it? And then it's back. And then it's there. I hope you enjoyed that one. It made it very, very quick. I had to be very quick, I'm afraid, because I just haven't had a chance. So I want to thank the girls for letting me join this collaboration 2 months ago when I was asked, and I went, yes, finished work by then. I can spend so much time. Life happens, unfortunately. So thank you all. Sorry I'm late with this one. And look at all the details down below. There'll be the full list of everyone. There should be a full list of everyone. I can't even find my full list now. There we go. As I said, we're up to day 12. Today's prompt was wings, which meant lots and lots of birdies. I've lost the original one. There we go. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry I can't show you the rest. And I'm sorry I didn't finish that one. Okay. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Bye.